If you don't embrace the mental health of your team, your business isn't going to move forward, because if they don't have the support or they feel unsupported and they feel like they don't belong in that team, then the productivity is going to go through the floor.
Stress is something that affects everyone in every part of all businesses. I won't say all the time, but frequently. So I happened to stumble across the Neurologica stand. Well, Joe, I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to let the word beat business burnout is what they do. So to talk a little bit more about stresses, particularly in the way that it might affect you if you're in marketing and in a small business, we are joined by Kerrie Smith.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm a solution-focused therapist and a biochemist, so I have quite a backstory as to where I've come from. So I used to work in the medical research field, so not so much marketing. However, I do understand how it feels to be in a business which is very stressful. So running a small business, it can be quite a lonely place, and we all have to get used to working on our own sometimes, and especially obviously with the working from home factor as well that many people are doing. Many of my clients at the minute do have this problem as well, that they're at home and they're isolated. So this is why the hybrid working has become quite difficult for some people. So it's great in some aspects, but it's also quite challenging for others.
Yeah, I can imagine as well. I am a hybrid worker. I mostly work from my own studio. I think that part of the other problem is when you are removed physically from the people that you report to, that adds a whole level of miscommunication stress is probably the best way I can put it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are so many ways that we can miscommunicate. And I think especially when you put the barriers up in terms of having to work on Zoom all the time and in Teams, it can be really, really challenging. And I think you can also lose confidence when you actually don't see people on a daily basis and you don't get to do the networking and you don't get to have those moments in the coffee room. You actually can lose a little bit of confidence in your own ability, but also in your confidence to communicate with other people generally. So that when we go out, we feel a little bit of surprise or shock being surrounded by people again. And actually even being here, there's so many people here. We haven't seen this number of people together for God knows how long. And it can be slightly overwhelming. And actually the overwhelm is so serious right now that people feel they can't even go out, actually. So there's quite a lot of actual claustrophobia occurring because of hybrid working, or mainly working from home, remote working.
So I'm aware we might be oversimplifying this massively, but when it does come to that sense of overwhelm, particularly when we're talking about dealing with large numbers of people now,
yeah.
What are some of the easy to implement tips that you can think of?
Oh, easy implement tips. Basically, try and focus on the long goals. Don't focus on what you're doing right now. Focus on that long goal and go for it. And don't focus on the past, because when we worry about the past and what we've done before, we create depression. But if we worry about the future, as in like what's going to happen in that meeting next week or what's going to happen whenever, we create anxiety. So you need to live for the now and focus on the long game, because there's no point in worrying about the past or the future. It's happened and you don't know what's going to happen. So focus on the now and focus on the long game. And that's really the advice I'd give to anybody really trying to move forward. And every day, just tick off something you've done every day, just to keep moving forward. And don't worry about what you haven't done, focus on what you have achieved on a daily basis. And try and pinpoint maybe one or two good things that have happened in the day, so that you actually realise that even though things are really hard and the challenges are still there, you're still achieving really good things every day.
Fantastic. So thinking more about, let's say you're an HR manager or you're someone who's got purview over the staff. What are the kind of things that they can do to help ensure that their staff are happy and and mentally sound? That's probably not the best wording, but you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. What are some of the things that you can do as a business manager?
Yeah, so as a business manager, it's absolutely critical that you look after your team. It only comes from you. As the leader, if you don't embrace the mental health of your team, your business isn't going to move forward, because if they don't have the support or they feel unsupported and they feel like they don't belong in that team, then the productivity is going to go through the floor. So you really need to make sure the leader is on board, and that's basically asking the question, are you okay? How are you feeling? But to mean it.
Yes.
And actually want to make a difference, and actually implement what you're saying. Don't just ask them in a passing comment in a coffee break.
Yeah.
Ask them seriously, take them to one side. Are you okay? What can I do to help? flexible
I think you've actually jumped on what I was going to say as a follow-up, which is brilliant, because one of the things that worries me when that comes up, and this actually literally only happened to me the other day, that question was asked, and because we're remote, it was asked via a messaging platform, and my immediate gut response was, they're checking up on me. They want to make sure, because I'm remote, that I'm doing all the work I'm supposed to do, and I should give a really positive answer about how great things are. It took a while for it to sort of filter through and realise that wasn't what that was about. That was a genuine, we know this is difficult, we know you've got a lot on your plate. Are you really okay? Is there anything we can do? So my question is then, how can you convince your staff that you're being honest in that request? What are the steps you need to take?
Yeah, I think when you first join a company, it's absolutely imperative that the person explains that they are going to look after them, that they're not there just to do the job, the 9 till 5. They're there to look after them holistically. And that's from the beginning. But of course, if you go into a company which doesn't have those things in place, for somebody to suddenly start asking you, how are you, can be a little bit odd, a little bit unusual, but it's repetition. So the brain loves to learn new things, and the more we do them, the more you say to people, are you okay, are they all right, and actually be seen to do things, actually, help them, send them on a course, do the things that they need to do. If they need time off, encourage it, flexible working, starting later, finishing earlier. As long as the work's getting done, then does it really matter if it's that 9 till 5? It's imperative the work gets done, and we understand it has to keep moving. And I think you've just got to keep asking the questions of your team, and they will learn over time that you care. And that's the biggest thing, you've just got to keep asking.
Exactly. And having seen both sides, the good and the bad, I can say firsthand how much of a big difference it makes when you feel genuinely supported.
That's it. I mean, everybody needs that sense of belonging. We all need to feel like we belong to something, and if we work for a big company, you can get lost in amongst everybody else. So it's really important that those line managers and those leaders, whoever they are, however big their teams are checking in with every single person there, because sometimes it's too late. And if you don't check up on your team, the regret is too much. So there's no point in leaving it till that point. Nowadays, you can't ignore that your staff need your full support, and if they need you, then you need to act on it.
Absolutely. So just to bring this finally all the way back round to marketing itself, because it is inside marketing, it's what we do here. I just came from a seminar all about digital marketing. And one of the things it talked about was, and I absolutely agree with this, authenticity is key. People can smell it a mile away. And therefore the extension that I would say that brings it around to what you guys do is that if people don't feel supported and they don't feel they believe in the company they work for and that the company believes in them, as a marketer and a creative, again, it's something that's happened to me firsthand. People can tell that you don't really care, and then the stuff you put out falls flat and you cannot work out why.
Absolutely.
So in fact, looking after the mental health of you, your team and your staff results in higher quality output.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the results that you get back. However much you put into your team, you're going to see it in the products that you develop. And there's no point in trying to do it yourself. You have to actually lead by example. And if you put that into your team and you put the effort into your team, they will give it you back. And there's nothing more powerful than having that wonderful environment that you walk in and you can feel the positivity, as opposed to the oppression and the pressure and the competition, which we've all felt, in that time and in our lives. And it's actually realizing that as a manager, if you walk in that place and you feel that, then do something about it to change the environment and actually raise it. Because if it's your business, then you have to apply the logic to it to say, actually, I can't do this on my own. I need my team. I have to look after my team. They come first. And that's where you get your success from at the end of the day, is a lot of the time your team.
Exactly.
So,
Well, talking of not doing it on your own, if people need assistance with this, which I'm sure a lot of people do, here's your chance to plug.
So if anybody ever needs any help with their mental health, stress, anxiety, or burnout, we're trying to reach people who are pre-burnout, so we want to get them before you reach that point, that critical point. Then we can help, and it's very, very quick and simple. Because it's solution focused, we don't have to talk about the past, which is lovely. We don't need to know the history as to why you feel the way you feel. It's basically feel anxiety and we can help you get past it in 8 to 12 weeks. So it's really quick. It's a newer type of psychotherapy. and it's really beneficial for businesses because it's fast and it's effective and it's long lasting. So there's lots of wonderful techniques in there to use, and yeah, we can get you to where you want to be. It's goal orientated.
Superb.
So yeah.
Well, I certainly look forward to diving into it a little bit more, and thank you guys so much for watching. Kerrie, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, you know the deal. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.